and I will see you on the flip side. Peace. All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I got my little brother David here from Lagos, Nigeria, the African city on fire. We're going to talk about what you need to know tonight. You ready for this?
Yes, we are.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Lagos, and we're going to break it down into two parts. Lagos Islands, which everybody's talking about, and then also parts of Lagos mainland that you like to know about. Victoria Island is one of those hot spots that you definitely do not want to miss. Right. So David, why don't you take it away and talk a little bit about Victoria Island?
I'll talk about Victoria Island first. Victoria Island is more commercial than residential. It's a place where most companies in Nigeria have their headquarters, have a lot of their businesses. So
sure.
Yeah, most people don't live in Victoria Island, but we have this very popular nightclub in Victoria Island called the Q-Lux.
Say that again.
Yeah, Q-Lux. Yeah, Q-Lux. So a lot of people spend nights out there in Victoria Island because of that very popular nightclub, which is something everyone who travels to Lagos wants to experience.
One nightclub that's hopping. So if you're visiting Lagos and you want to go out, then Q-Lux. Do I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Q-Lux is
Q-Lux is where it's at.
Exactly.
The second of the islands that you mentioned to me, David, is Lekki.
Okay, so Lekki it's a place that it's developing in Lagos right now. So a lot of real estates are like having property management in Lekki. So Lekki is where everyone is running to now, because it's when you're talking about amenities, when you're talking about infrastructures, when you're talking about luxury, that's a place to be right now because it's a new development. So more like gated
communities.
Yeah, gated communities.
I guess what we would call gated communities, you guys call estates.
Yeah,
right?
we call them estates in Nigeria. So we have a lot of that in Nigeria, and most of them are in Lekki, and it's a really safe place to be.
Oh, great.
So most people want to like own houses in Lekki because we have a lot of land there right now. People are purchasing. Like, it's developing in the sense that we still have a lot of lands that are not purchased yet or no. So yeah, Lekki is a place to be, and whatever it is you're looking for, you can find in Lekki.
Yeah, and one thing I think you mentioned to me was that Lekki also has a very, very amazing beach community that a lot of people go to, right? So tell us a little bit about the beach or beaches in Lekki.
Yeah, so, I can't remember how well, but there's one very popular one that's called Elegushi.
Elegushi?
Yeah, Elegushi Beach. That's a place people like to go. It's in Lekki too. So that's one of the reasons why people love to stay in Lekki, because it's accessible to malls, beaches, like whatever it is you want to go to, you have right there in Lekki. We have the cinemas, we have the malls, we have the stores, we have beach, and I think government is also planning on building an airport, because we have just one in Lagos, which is at Ikeja. Yeah, so
right, and it's a very, very busy airport because as some of you may know, Lagos, I think the city alone is 9 million people, and then we're looking at Lagos metropolitan area, we're looking at an estimated 23 million people, which makes Lagos really the most populated metropolitan area in Africa.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
I can see how you would need a second airport, and the thought is let's build that around Lekki.
Exactly, because that's where a lot of people are moving to right now, so that's the thought. So why not? A lot of people moving there, so Lekki is a place to be too. If you're in Lagos, you want to check out Lekki too.
All right, let's dive into the third beach area, Banana Island. I love the name. I mean, that's just a cool place, Banana Island, right?
It's a very cool place. It's a cool place, but not for everyone.
Why do you say that, David?
Banana Island is like one of the most, if not the most expensive place to stay in Lagos. Like we have the airlines staying there, so it's not somewhere where everyone. It's like old money, like I said, old money in the sense that it's been like that for decades. Like rich people staying, and not just rich people staying. I mentioned Lekki earlier, right?
Yes.
So rich people stay in Lekki, but like
ultra
super
rich.
rich,
super
rich. Yeah, stays in Banana Island. We have the likes of Davido, which is like the most popular artist in Africa. Because we have the likes of Aliko Dangote. Yeah, that's the richest man in Africa.
And he has the best name, Aliko Dangote. So yes, and he started with concrete, right?
Yeah, he started with concrete. But right now, I think he has diversified.
Super diversified.
Yeah, he's into a lot of things that I don't even know about. But concrete is like the main business.
Yes.
And he's one of the biggest employers in Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, so his company is one of the biggest employers in Africa. Yeah, so we have his likes staying there. We have the likes of Mike Adenuga. just name the richest, the likes of Femi Otedola and Co. Those are the people that stay in Banana Island. So that's I call it old money. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, not just anyone stays in Banana Island. That's the luxury part of Lagos, and you would like to check that out too. Lagos.
Let's move on to the mainland. And we're going to start with Ikeja, a place that I spent a little time in many years ago. When I lived in Lagos for the first time, I lived in a place called Urele Igamu. Do I pronounce that somewhat correctly?
Yeah, it's somehow correct.
Let's hear it. How do we say it right?
Urele Igamu.
Urele Igamu. Yeah. I'm trying. And that was definitely not my favorite place. But then when I stayed there a second time, Ikeja was just so much better. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Ikeja looks like now? Maybe what we can expect and why people should look at Ikeja.
Yeah, Ikeja is the capital of Lagos. It's the most centralized place in Lagos, and Ikeja is mixed. What I mean by mixed is it's half commercial, half residential.
Yeah.
So Ikeja is accessible to every part of Lagos. From
Yes.
Ikeja, you can easily access the mainland. You can easily access. It's on the mainland. So from Ikeja, you can easily access the island. You can easily access everywhere in Lagos. So Ikeja is mixed, and I don't think it has changed much from
When I was there?
when you were there, because Ikeja is developed.
And it's relatively safe too, right?
Yeah, it's relatively safe. Yeah, and it's developed. So we have the state house is in Ikeja. That's the government house. The government seats.
The estate house?
Yeah, we call it secretariat. Yeah, it's in Ikeja too. So Ikeja is, and there's this very popular mall in Ikeja, like everyone goes to.
What's the name of the mall?
Goes to. ICM, that we call it Ikeja City Mall.
The Ikeja City Mall. So if you are in Lagos, you do want to check out the Ikeja City Mall.
Yeah, you should check that out. Like, it has a lot of things, and it's always crowded during the weekends, like very much crowded.
So it's a place where people hang out, where you can meet people and see new faces and just, do it all.
Exactly.
All right. If you're new to Lagos, Ikeja is a place you want to check out. Now that we've talked about the beaches and the mainland, I think it's time to talk a little bit about the biggest industries of Lagos, because I think a lot of people will come there on business who are not, Lagos natives. So it may be nice to hear just maybe 1-2 big names, and I think you mentioned some of the big accounting firms, but dive into what you want to share with us, little brother.
Okay, so I mentioned before Aliko Dangote. That's like the biggest employer of labor in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole. Yeah,
So in Aliko Dangote, again, cement, concrete, and then many other things as well.
Yeah, so he's one of the biggest employer of labor. Then we have the banks. The banking sector is a huge employer of labor too, because we have a lot of people. We have the Access Bank, GT Bank, Zenith Bank, First Banks. Then we have the Big Four. I don't know if the Big Four is also...
Absolutely. Big Four accounting firms, KPMG,
PwC, Deloitte, and Ernst & Young.
They're everywhere. They're here. They're in Germany as well. So, yeah.
Exactly. So we have those also. Like, those are like the biggest I can mention for now. Yeah.
The Big Four have some sort of a career track program?
Yeah, they do. They have that with some private schools whereby you really don't have to go through the whole application process and all. Well, you still have to take the exams,
of course,
entry-level exams, but it just makes it easier for you to go into. But Big Four is still a tough competition for like graduates out there. So
but it's desirable by students that want to work there.
Exactly.
No, that makes sense. So thanks for sharing that as well. And now that we've talked a little bit about employment, let's dive into safety. So a lot of people in the West, when they hear Nigeria, they think the Nigerian scam, and it's a scary place to be. But when I've lived in Nigeria, I've experienced some hassle with some corruption. You got to pay people off and pay them a little money so you can go places that you want to go in peace. But has it become more safe? What would you say? Just give us a couple of sound bites. So somebody who's never been there, who may not look like the typical Nigerian, what can you expect when you're visiting Lagos?
Okay, so Lagos is safe to an extent. You just have to know where to go and where not to go, because like every other city, Lagos they have slums, they have hoods, and also you just need
hoods.
To know, hoods.
Hoods. They have hoods, yeah.
So you just need to know the right place to go and the right place not to go, because a lot of places are safe, but you just need to be careful. You can't just be like, okay, they said it's safe, I can do anyhow I like,
right?
Because the way it's safe, it's also unsafe. Like some aspects.
If you find yourself not necessarily even in the hood, but in a place that it's a little bit off track, you do have to watch your back. Is that correct?
You have to watch your back. And nightlife is a thing in Lagos. Like, it's a thing. We have people wake up as early as 3 a.m. to go to work. We have people.
Yes.
Yeah. So you just have to be careful, because you can't just be non-vigilant about your safety. You just have to be careful.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you were visiting Lagos for the first time, from a safety standpoint, is there one thing that you would point out? Hey, maybe hire a driver, or what would you say? Is there one thing people should do?
If you're visiting Lagos for the first time, you can hire a driver for the first time, because you're coming in for the first time, you don't know where to go, you don't know where not to go, you don't know places.
And the traffic,
and the traffic too. Yeah, so hiring not necessarily a driver, but you need to have someone with you that will show you the way and show you things around.
So ideally, have somebody from a company or a family member or somebody. Don't go there as a complete stranger thinking you can just rent a car and be fine, right?
Don't do that.
All right. Do not do that. David says it's not advisable. All right. Now that we've talked about safety, we're going to come to our last point, which is the one thing you have to know about Lagos, and that is the party life.
I think that's like everything. That's like what you see when you search Lagos online.
Right.
That's what Lagos is known for. Lagos is known for party.
Absolutely. When I lived there, every weekend people got together, right? One person brought music, the next person brought food, then people brought, and then there's the typical money dance where people dance and you get $1 bill on your head, or Naira on your head.
They still do that.
Yeah.
They still do that, because Lagos is like, everyone in Lagos, so Lagos is a place for lifestyle. Like, a lot of people like to eat well, they like to dress well, they like to, all those things are Lagos. So Lagos is known for food, is known for the hustle, that's the traffic and all, and known for the party life. So
Nigerians like to dance, right?
They like to party.
I've seen kids as little as 1, 2 just dance. You don't see that as much here. You do, but I think over there, everybody really cares about music, right?
Nigerians like to dance. So there's this term called Owambe.
Owambe?
Yeah, Owambe means
Owambe.
Party. Yeah, that's the term they use for party. So in Lagos, every weekend, you have parties every week. Event center is a big business in Lagos.
Events?
Yeah, event center, just event management rather.
Right.
Event management is big, because everyone wants to have a party. So every weekend there's someone who wants to rent a space for parties. We celebrate birthdays, we celebrate burial. That should be memorial.
Funerals.
Funeral. Yeah,
huge
that should
parties.
be something where you should just a service, a short service, and that's no, Lagosians don't do that. Lagosians have a big party for funerals. They celebrate virtually everything. Everything they celebrate, they dance, the spraying, like you said, the spray bills and all. So then the clubs too, the nightlife. Lagos is just a fun place. You really need to be in Lagos.
Absolutely. Well, maybe tell us 1 or 2. You mentioned food is a big thing. Tell us 1 or 2 foods that people should know about if they're thinking about Lagos.
Okay, I'll be biased about this because I'm a Yoruba guy and I don't really know much about the other types of.
Yeah, so there's Hausa and Igbos, but then tell us 1 or 2 Yoruba.
Okay, so as a Yoruba guy, the go-to food is pounded yam.
Pounded yam, I remember that vividly, yes. And you didn't make me anything this weekend.
Maybe next time I'll do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so pounded yam and egusi soup. Yeah, we have that. We have amala.
Yeah.
Amala, yeah, we have a lot of swallows, pounded yam, egusi, amala, eba.
Eba, yes.
Yeah, we have eba, we have yam and egg.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot. And the good thing about Lagos is you can't walk down the street without seeing an eatery.
Right.
In a street you could have 5, 6 eateries.
Right.
So food is everywhere in Lagos. Everywhere. We have the junks, which is roasted corn. I don't know if you ever in Lagos.
Yes.
You have the roasted corn, roasted plantain.
Absolutely.
A lot of junk foods and a lot of healthy foods too. So,
and I used to love the plantains because they were not spicy, so Oyibo could eat them too.
Yeah, and that's one thing you should know about the Yoruba. They love spicy.
They love spicy food, and if you're a Westerner and you don't like spices, do not be aware. One last thing we wanted to briefly mention is Lagos has a ton of traffic. Is that right?
Damn, a ton of traffic. Like I said, some people wake up as early as 3 to go to work. So you can imagine trying to beat the traffic. You have to wake up 3, 4 just to get to work before the traffic, because the traffic is crazy. Almost everyone on Lagos Road, almost everyone in Lagos has cars. Some people have 5, 4. They move out with their cars. Their wife move out with the car. Their children move out with cars. So that's 6 cars from one family. So you can imagine like having that and having multiple. Like you said, Lagos is like the most populous in Africa. Yeah, so Lagos traffic is something else, and some people get to work. So you don't get home until like 10 p.m.
Right.
You could be stuck in traffic for like 6 hours.
Yes.
It's possible.
6-hour traffic.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking Los Angeles traffic is bad, then Lagos traffic could be worse.
It's worse. I don't think there's any city as congested as Lagos. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So now that we've talked about the party life, the good food, and the traffic, let's wrap it up and tell us one thing that you love doing in Lagos when you're not working and you're not going to school.
One thing I love doing is spending time with family. Yeah, because I like to spend time with myself. I'm not the going out type. I don't really go out. I like spending time indoor with my family. So that's one thing I really love doing, and I really appreciate it a lot.
I'm sorry I made you walk everywhere this weekend, but
no, it's just fun. It's just
I
fun.
enjoyed spending time with you two. And
I mean, California and Lagos have something in common. That's the sun. So
the sun, exactly. And we enjoyed this plenty.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. Yeah,
well, guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. Thanks for being on the show, David. If there are any questions about Lagos, Nigeria, throw them in the comments below. Drop a like to support, and we'll try our best to get you the information that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, have a good one. Peace.